Not that way because the Royals are right there with Cleveland. And if the Royals can get some bats in here, they already have. Really weird looking at the Royals stats they have this year, the pitching staff and the hitters, and thinking, okay, what's going on with this team? We know what it is. It's the outfield and getting power there. I mean, they have their big three. This pitching staff has been great despite all the injuries. But anyway, Josh Vernier comes your way at 1 o'clock over on the Fan 610. Props to Vern. What a great year he's had. Best in the business at what he does. And so going to miss Vern until spring training. Then Vern can join from Arizona, and we'll talk division title, right? Talk playoff hope with the Kansas City Royals. Again, on paper, this team's right there. They're right there. There's a few things here and there, but in the front office, you know exactly what they need. Get the big three, some talent. Hey, I'm looking forward to Carter Jensen and what he can do now that he's been brought up. I think Kaggs has a much different year next year than he did this year. So there's a lot of hope for this team. There's a lot of hope for the Kansas City Royals. It's going to be fun. But anyway, Vern comes your way at 1 o'clock over on the Fan, 6:10 a.m. Coming up next, though, we look at local college football, as I do each and every week when I'm doing Sunday mornings. Drew Nixon from Cody and Goldie's a producer there, but we talk college football. We do that next.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
NFL Sunday's coming. You've got your crew, your couch, your snacks, your slate, and FanDuel's coming in with something extra. This isn't just another NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your go-to player prop. And now we're making it even better because this week FanDuel's bringing the bonus. That's right. Right now, all customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. However you play your game, FanDuel's got your back with something extra in your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download the app and get in on the action before kickoff. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
You're on the list for Macy's Fall VIP Sale. That means you're invited to save big on this season's top designer looks at prices you'll love. Like an extra 30% off Calvin Klein, Steve Madden, Hugo Boss, and more. Plus, get 15% off beauty and fragrance from Estee Lauder, Lancome, and so many others. This only happens a few times a year. Don't miss the Fall VIP Sale. Today, only at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Smokehouse Barbecue has always been our choice when it comes to barbecue in Kansas City. We love everything about Smokehouse Barbecue. And now Smokehouse has street tacos, their newest menu item. 3 flour tortillas, chopped burnt ends and smoked sausage, plus corn elote and Cajun sour cream and a side. And now, every Tuesday, kids eat for $1.99 with the purchase of an adult entree. So visit Smokehouse Barbecue in Gladstone, Zona Rosa, or Independence, and at SmokehouseBBQ.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to select entries and win money all season long. And you can play right now in Missouri. That's right, from your couch. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just choose your favorite players, and if they'll go higher or lower than stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Plus, get your entries right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash And you can play with as little as $1. One of the easiest apps I've ever downloaded. Come join the millions of us who have already won billions over at Underdog, and download the app today and sign up with promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Chiefs, Ravens, Sunday with kickoff at 3:25 right here on 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back, 11 a.m. hour. Jay Binkley, Jacob Mustard, producing the operation, taking you right up to Chiefs Radio Network pregame with Josh Briscoe. Coming up at noon, we're going to talk some college football here in a second. Fesco always makes me hungry, man. Talk about smokehouse and those barbecue tacos, man. Man, it's been a Northland tradition forever. I know they're in Independence, but it was a Northland tradition forever. I always went in there and ordered the barbecue, right? And then Fesco goes, "Hey, you try these wings." I tried the wings. I was like, whoa. Like that's a necessity now every time, right? Now I got to go eat tacos. He makes me hungry, man, because I'm sitting here and we got a long way to go for tonight. But college football, big time weekend. And here joining us, as he does each and every week, I do the show on Sunday. Drew Nixon, 249 miles of college football. He hosts. It's a podcast that comes out each and every week. He's also the producer of Cody and Gold. And he's also damn excited about the races at Kansas Speedway going on this weekend. The second to the last round, the round of 12 that they're going, as NASCAR will be transitioning to the round of 8 soon. But it's a playoff race at Kansas Speedway. Drew, you had everything right in front of you, brother.
No, I do, man. I'm very, very excited for today, obviously. But yeah, man, we got a good old Saturday of college football yesterday.
Oh, we really did. I considered it the best of the year so far. Obviously, it keeps getting better and better. It depends on the matchups you like. But 4 ranked teams, where both teams are ranked, played. 2 other teams I think could have been ranked in Auburn and Washington. Of course, both those guys fall. But we'll stay and look at the local teams first. How about we'll start in Lawrence, Kansas. And I was very surprised by this one, to be honest with you. Kansas loses to the Natty 37-34. Cincinnati's got a tough quarterback. You knew it was going to be tough. He throws for 388. Brendan Sorsby, 388 and 2 touchdowns, plus he runs for 52 yards. Kansas, on the other end, Emmanuel Henderson, stand up, man, transfer from Alabama, 5 catches, 214 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Daniels had a big game passing, but this was not the same team I saw from Lawrence that played West Virginia before.
No, yeah, it wasn't. And a lot of people, there's a lot of people, I don't know if you've seen Bink, but there's a lot of people on social media, KU people, who are blaming Lance Leipold and time management in both the beginning and both in the first half and the second half.
Wrong guy to blame.
I was going to say, I think I understand some of the questions about the time management and stuff like that, but it comes down to, in the end, the defense again making a play. And if you look at the 2 losses that they've had, the defense, or lack thereof at times, is, Missouri ran away with the game because the defense couldn't get a stop. They couldn't buy a stop against Missouri. In the second half, they had 1 stop the entire second half since he was able to do their thing. And when they needed to most, they couldn't get the stop at the very end of the game, including the one play where the ball's tipped and it's an overthrow by Sorsby. One of the few mistakes he made all day. You got to take advantage of it, and that was the game right there. So as much as people want to blame Lance Leipold and all this other stuff, I don't understand why people can't look at the defense and say, you know what, this area has got to be better, because maybe at the end of the season, Bink, we'll look back and just look at how some of these games have gone and be like, man, the defense couldn't make a play. If only they had a good defense, who knows where this Kansas team could have gone, because the offense looked spectacular.
Offense, unbelievable. Jalen Daniels, 444 or 45 yards, 4 touchdowns, and then he ran for 55 yards as well. It was incredible. And you look at that offense and what they're doing. Brendan Sorsby, the quarterback for Cincinnati stuff, this Bearcat team played much better than they did at Arrowhead. Like, they played much better than that.
Yeah.
But Emmanuel Henderson, that dude, man, stand up, man. This guy's a special talent, but he can stretch the field. But regardless, tough loss for Kansas, because this is one I really thought they had in the bag.
Yeah, this is one that I think this is one that stings a little bit. And I know that, like before on the podcast this week, I've talked about it, could Kansas contend for the Big 12 with this sort of an offense? Yes. And I even said it yesterday in the reaction on Instagram, and we do that every single Saturday after some of the games. Next weekend we'll be doing it after the K-State game, or the KU game, I believe, is at night against UCF. Either way, neither here nor there. We'll do it at the end of the day on Saturday next week. But on the live yesterday, I think Kansas fans should enjoy Jim Zebrowski while they can, while they have him, because he's going to be a guy that all of a sudden, like Andy Kotelnicki, starts to get more hype and more buzz, and all of a sudden maybe Zebrowski's getting hired to go to a group of five school or something like that. Because you mentioned Jalen Daniels' stat line, Emmanuel Henderson, anytime you see Alabama transfer, you know the guy's got the talent, he's just got to put it together, and he's been able to put it together for Kansas so far this season. The offense is extremely prolific, but I think this also goes to show you how tight the Big 12 is. And I know it's not the SEC. It doesn't have the top-heavy talent like the SEC or the Big 10 does. But, Bink, it's hard for people to argue that the Big 12 is not the third-best conference in all of college football, because you've got 4, 5, 6 teams that can win the conference, and every single game seems to be tight for the most part, except when you're playing, the more of the bottom feeders. But you've got enough teams in the Big 12 where every single game is going to be competitive. And Lance Leipold said it yesterday, like, these guys have got to know that this is how the games are going to go in this conference. They're all going to be tight, and they're going to be close. And we got to be able to make enough plays to win. And even going back to last year, they haven't really been able to do that.
We'll get to the Big 12 conference and the way it shakes out here in a minute. But Kansas State, they win 34-20 over UCF. That was undefeated going into it. UCF took care of North Carolina the week before, and they used 2 quarterbacks in the game because you get the starter hurt in Henderson. But bottom line is Kansas State looked completely different. This UCF team is a team that Kansas will play next week on the road. First loss of the year for UCF. But Avery Johnson, he needed this game. He throws for 168 and 2, but he added 75 yards rushing. That was one thing I was waiting for, because this guy is lightning quick. His legs, what makes him special. And seeing the way Arizona, kind of bottled him down, the way he's been bottled up running the football early on, not good. But then Dylan Edwards, the guy you saw there for a cup of coffee in the first game and then last week, but he wasn't a part of the offense. But yesterday he was 168 yards, 8.3 per. He had to take, as Jace Brown was out most of the game in that game. But Dylan Edwards showed why they won him so bad from Colorado.
Yeah, if you were going to tell me that Jace Brown didn't really play, he didn't have a single target, I don't think, in this game, Bink.
Yeah, he had a helmet off the rest of the game, I think, yeah.
Yeah, if you were to tell me that, then I'd be like, yeah, I don't know if Kansas State wins this game because of how reliant Avery Johnson has been on him. But I think actually, and this might sound really weird, maybe the fact that Jace Brown wasn't in actually helped Kansas State more, because it made Avery focus on everybody instead of just the one guy that he's gone to multiple times. Where him and Jace Brown have been fine this year. Actually, they've played pretty well, but they've been losing games and haven't been that effective on offense. You bring in Dylan Edwards, who's now fully healthy, thank goodness for them. And this is the Kansas State team that we expected all season long, where Kansas State fans can take a deep breath in and a deep breath out and be really excited, but also know that the season is now different than what it was to begin the year, where you can have a disappointing season, Bink, but but that doesn't mean that you have a bad season. Where, let's say, best case scenario, K-State runs the table. They go 9-3 and they win a bowl game. It's double-digit wins. That's what Missouri did last year. I think that there's a way to still salvage the season where if they go 7-5, 8-4, they win a bowl game, you get to 8 wins after a bowl or 9 wins after a bowl. It's right in the ballpark where we've seen Kansas State before. And it also, it can help out your recruiting in terms of keeping recruits that are currently committed there and all these other things. So there's a lot still on the table for Kansas State. I understand that fans are disappointed, but that doesn't mean that you're just going to throw the season away because you didn't get to a Big 12 title game. Like the team showed fire, and after the bye week, this is kind of what we expected. We'll have to see if they can carry on. But Avery Johnson was good. Him using his legs was very nice to see. But the defense also looking like they communicated well. Maldonado had a great pick. You also had VJ Payne, who played well. Austin Romaine was a dog, and everything just came together, it felt like, for this K-State team, where if they have that identity the rest of the season, then I think they're going to be fine, and they'll be playing in December or January, whatever bowl game they have.
Talking to Drew Nixon from 249 Miles of College Football, one of the best podcasts out there right here on 96.5, the Fan 435 Podcast Network. Of course, I was also the producer for Cody and Gold. All right, let's look at the Missouri Tigers. This is the best of the bunch locally. They win 42-6. It was UMass they played, but they handled UMass, which UMass is not a good team, but they handled them. They'll have the bye week to get ready for Alabama. But here's the one thing about Missouri. 268 yards rushing again. It's the third leading team in the nation in running the football behind Navy and Florida State. Ahmad Hardy, 130 yards, 5 straight games now, over 100, 3 touchdowns. He's the leading rusher in the nation. He's the leading rusher by 100 yards. He's the leading rusher in the nation by 100 yards. Leading rusher, of course, in the SEC. But Missouri's defense, it's number 1 in the SEC, but it's also number 1 in total defense in the country. I know they have that one conference game they've played to this point. It'll get tougher from here on out. But Corey Batoon's doing a great job with that Missouri defense. But for Missouri to be so solid, running the football and playing defense, and you sprinkle in Bo Pribula and what he's done. And I know a lot of those Penn State fans, seeing the way Drew Aller's playing, thinking about Bo Pribula that they had as a backup quarterback. Now at Missouri, tearing things up and climbing up the Heisman odds. Missouri just solid all the way around. And Kevin Coleman, the receiver they brought in from Mississippi State, another outstanding game.
No, and this is no offense to Penn State. Bo Pribula would not look as good as he does at Missouri if he were playing at Penn State. And that's nothing against Drew Aller or the way that Penn State runs their stuff. They just don't run it for the quarterback. I mean, they run the ball. That's what they do. And Bo Pribula is a great runner, as we've seen. But I think you're right, Bank, about this is why on the podcast this week and why previously I'd said if they beat South Carolina, I think this team is a college football playoff team because the defense is the foundation and the base of this team. It kind of was last year as well. The defense was a top 25 defense last year. They were a top half in the SEC defense last year. But it was the offense being the question. They had injuries last year that they were dealing with, of course, that really hindered their chances to make the playoff. Now, cross your fingers if you're a Missouri fan, and knock on wood, I guess, if you want to. But right now they have been very healthy, and Bo Pribula has been very good. Ahmad Hardy, you mentioned, I'm surprised that he doesn't have better Heisman odds. Going into the weekend, Bank, he was 60-1 to 1 to win the Heisman.
They're climbing, though. Put it this way. Robert Henry at UTSA has 624 yards. He sits there with 730. Now, as far as just the SEC, he's number 1 in the SEC with 730. The closest to him is Quan Lacey at Ole Miss with 445. That is huge separation.
I know. It's crazy to think about. But this is the thing, too. It's crazy because his odds aren't better because right now he is on pace to have as good of a season as Ashton Jeanty did playing in the SEC, though, and not in the Mountain West.
Big difference.
So it's obviously is a very big difference, and that's no disrespect to Ashton Jeanty. But if Ahmad Hardy keeps his pace up, he should win the Heisman because of the numbers that he's going to be putting up. I don't know if he will or not, but holy smokes, he is a stud. And for some reason, either the Sun Belt is just producing these backs who are good enough to win and be good in the SEC, or maybe Coach Drinkwitz is just really good because he got Nate Noel, and then he got Carroll last year from Georgia State and App State, and now he's got Ahmad Hardy from UL Monroe. Something about the Sun Belt and making these producing these good running backs. I don't know what it is, but Missouri is very fun to watch, I think, which draws people's attention. And where they play Alabama next after the bye week. I think that this is a game that we could see game day at, and it is another game where Alabama beats Georgia, and all of a sudden you're looking at a matchup that could absolutely be a top 20 matchup. If not, I don't know how high Missouri is going to go in the AP poll, but it could be 17 or 18 versus a top 10 team in the country in Columbia. That bodes very well for all eyes being on the Missouri Tigers in a couple of weeks.
College game day, by the way, they're going to be in Tuscaloosa this weekend. So for the Crimson Tide going against Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt. So will they do 2 Alabama games in a row by playing in Columbia?
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not, but they should. And I'm with you on that. But Missouri's just been solid, both sides of the ball. But what did you think about college football in general, Drew? Because we saw some games. You and I talked about these games on Friday. Listen, some of them went to overtime. Like that Florida State losing to Virginia. That's the biggest surprise of the weekend. That was and one of the wildest field rushes you'll ever see. But they lose. We saw an overtime game with the Oregon and Penn State. James Franklin just can't seem to win the big games. And Drew Aller, the quarterback, now 0-6 against top 10 teams. But James Franklin now 1-15 versus top 5 opponents. Not good. We saw Ohio State roll, but LSU loses to Ole Miss. I'm surprised at this game, too. I thought they'd hang in there. And by the way, Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback of LSU, has the same Heisman odds as Hardy now. They're both plus 3,000. So, but anyway, are you a little bit surprised that Penn State didn't stand up and beat Oregon?
I am more surprised that they didn't start throwing the ball until the third quarter. At some point in the third quarter, Bank, I looked. Drew Aller had 16 pass attempts. They had 22 rush attempts. And it wasn't working all game. I don't know what Andy Kotelnicki was thinking. Eventually, maybe our offensive line will be good or something like that, because it took a while for them to figure out the offensive line was getting bullied. They couldn't run the ball with Singleton or Allen. And then all of a sudden, they went on a drive, 4 for 4 passing, 75 yards, touchdown. And it's like, oh, okay, maybe this Penn State team actually woke up and smelled the coffee to throw the ball more. And then all of a sudden, the next drive that they had after they got another stop, there was more of a balance. But because they threw the ball, we have to trust Drew Aller, and now they were able to run the ball as well. Like I felt like the game plan, if Penn State would have had that game plan that they ran in in the fourth quarter for the entire game, I think Penn State actually does win that game, because defensively, we know what Penn State is, and they're consistently a juggernaut. And offensively, they've got the talent, but whether it's Andy Kotelnicki or whether it's James Franklin, I have no idea. But it feels like they still don't trust Drew Aller to make the plays, and maybe that is got some validation based on the throw that he made to lose the game in overtime. I don't know, but when you have a quarterback that is as more experienced than talented, I think, to make the right plays, you saw what happened when they trusted him to throw the ball down the field. I thought Penn State could have won the game if they would have ran the same game plan. It's like they finally woke up when they were down 14 points and came back instead of running the same game plan throughout the game that they had in that fourth quarter, and that ended up biting them in the butt. But, credit to Oregon for going into Happy Valley and really silencing that crowd and being able to make bigger plays. I do think, I don't know what the Heisman odds are now for the favorite, Bank, but I would imagine Dante Moore is going to be the guy from here on out.
He's number one now. He's number one. He passed Mendoza. Mendoza's number 3 at plus 1,100. Dante Moore at plus 750. Ty Simpson, man. Look out for Ty Simpson. He's at plus 900. He's number 2 now on DraftKings Heisman odds. He's the quarterback for Alabama, who's really one of the most accurate things you've ever seen.
Yeah, Bink. He has been one of the most impressive players, I think. And this is what I like Ty Simpson coming into the year. I know you were high on him as well. Not just for the consistency that we've seen and the accuracy, obviously, but he waited his time at Alabama, and he was offered money to go other places.
He didn't leave.
I've got a mission here at Alabama, and I'm going to stick it out. We don't see that in college football really anymore at all whatsoever from anybody. Eventually, somebody's going to leave. Like Carson Beck eventually left Georgia, maybe after we thought that he would just stay at Georgia forever. Like there's guys that eventually are going to leave and go somewhere else because they think the grass is greener. Ty Simpson's waited his time, and he looks really, really good. And this Bama team, I think everybody was really disrespectful to Kalen DeBoer a little bit, where it was a must-win game and all this other stuff on the road in the hedges. Like, it was not a must-win game. If he lost that game, let's say they lose 24-21 instead of winning that way, he was not getting fired or anything like that because the game was in Athens and the game was, on the road against a team in the top 5. But the fact that he won that game, it was a statement by Kalen DeBoer, and also Ty Simpson is maybe just that dude that people need to pay attention to more. It's been a fascinating season so far to see teams that have come in and out of big-time conversation.
Well, Missouri and Bama in 2 weeks. Missouri with the week off right before Alabama, and then Missouri doesn't go on the road until October 18th against Auburn. Great stuff. What's coming up this week on the show, Drew, on your 249 miles of college football?
Yeah, of course, we're going to do a little bit more of what I recapped yesterday, a deeper dive into K-State and what they need to do to continue to build this upward momentum, how Kansas can reset and get back to their winning ways and trying to figure out what exactly the issues are. And then for Missouri, there's going to be a little bit. We're going to talk about just Ahmad Hardy, I think, is going to be a little bit more of the focal point and what this offense can be and what the differences are in last year's team versus this year's team and why Missouri is still on pace to be that team in the college football playoff. All they got to do is go 10-2, Bank. 10 wins is the marker for them. If they get to 10, they're in the playoff, I think. So a lot to talk about this week, of course.
Thanks, Drew. Enjoyed NASCAR today. Enjoy the NFL. Just have a lot of fun, my friend.
Yeah, man, I will. Thank you very much for having me.
There you go. Drew Nixon right there. Some great stuff about some of the local college football teams, the national college football teams. Love talking college football. It's fun. The Heisman is way up for grabs at this point. And again, Missouri with the bye week. But I get it. Text line doesn't like their pass defense, but I think they're third in the SEC, 12th in the nation. But they only give up 203 yards a game. Total defense. Again, it's the number one total defense in the country. You put that with the best running attack in the SEC, third best in the nation. Those are good things. And Ahmad Hardy is an absolute stud at Missouri. Nice 1-2 combination with him and Jamal Roberts doing their deal. But that's a very talented. I know we looked at Singleton and Allen with Penn State as maybe one of the best backfields in the country. Missouri's got one themselves. We'll take a time out. We come back. Before we get into the NFL slate, like a look at the NFL across the country, we'll look at Juwan Taylor. Juwan Taylor's obviously a lot of expectations on him. Andy Reid says he blocks fine and all this, but it's the penalties that are killing Juwan Taylor. Come back, we'll talk some Juwan next.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond is worthy of a Shane Company engagement ring. Our team travels the world to see diamonds in person and handpick each one. That type of dedication only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. No matter your budget, your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You're on the list for Macy's Fall VIP Sale. That means you're invited to save big on this season's top designer looks at prices you'll love. Like an extra 30% off Calvin Klein, Steve Madden, Hugo Boss, and more. Plus, get 15% off beauty and fragrance from Estee Lauder, Lancome, and so many others. This only happens a few times a year. Don't miss the Fall VIP Sale. Today, only at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Tulsa is my home now.
Academy Award nominee Sylvester Stallone stars in the Paramount Plus original series, Tulsa King.
This distillery is a very interesting business, and we gotta know the enemy.
From Taylor Sheridan, co-creator of Landman.
What are you saying? I'm a rat! If you think you're gonna take me out, it's gonna be really difficult.
Tulsa King, new season now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the job delivered. Large orders of lumber, doors, windows, paint, plumbing, anything the job needs, all from one partner. Get it today with same-day delivery. Get it tomorrow with next-day delivery on 50,000 plus products. Or get it on your timeline with scheduled delivery on everything from framing to flooring. It's time to get your whole job, all your jobs delivered. Ask about all our new delivery options at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
Straight Talk presents the math of more. Here's how it works. When you say yes to more with Straight Talk, you're left with more for all the other good stuff. So getting an unlimited plan starting at just $25 a month equals more savings for your family's weekend adventures. And with a network covered by Verizon, you can share more from wherever you go. It's simple math, really. More equals more with Straight Talk. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. The $25 plan requires a compatible unlocked device and a new line of service. Additional terms apply.
When these two teams get together, all the pieces matter.
Jackson throws deep middle for the end zone. Intercepted! Intercepted in the end zone! Intercepted by Deion Bush! Sean Hockley, I've never loved you more, brother. Incomplete! And Kansas City wins this game by a toenail!
Chiefs, Ravens, Sunday from Arrowhead with pregame starting at noon. Kickoff at 3:25. Right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
Welcome back. Yeah, home of Kansas City Chiefs football right here, 96.5 The Fan. The Steelers, by the way, up 24-14 on the Vikings in Dublin, Ireland. 3:02 remaining in this game.
Huge play just happened.
It was the Vikings getting it down. Where they at? Down by the goal line? Inside the 5, the Vikings trying to make this interesting?
Yeah, so the Steelers...
Carson Wentz, don't count him out, man.
The Steelers just went for it on 4th and goal, failed. They were like, cool, we'll keep them within their own 5-yard line, and instead one of their corners goes down on 1st down, and then a blown coverage with the backup corner almost was a 90-plus yard touchdown. Addison gets tripped up at the goal line.
They still have one timeout, then the 2-minute warning if they're able to get into the end zone here. So we'll see as the Steelers knock that one away. So it'll be 3rd and goal for the Minnesota Vikings at this point. Jawaan Taylor. I want to talk about Jawaan Taylor. Obviously leads the Chiefs in penalties. He obviously leads the NFL in penalties the last 3 years. Often penalized, but a lot of it's that false start. It's where he lines up. And I do think there's a difference between Jawaan at home than on the road because it's quiet. Arrowhead keep that stuff quiet when that offense is on the field, and he doesn't do it as much. He should be watching the football all the time. Where's it going to be snapped? But I get it. He's doing it so he can try to protect Mahomes the best. And I do think Chris Collinsworth ruined that for him when he kept showing and singling out where he lines up, which you do see kind of the same offensive line stances across the NFL. But Jawaan Taylor's got that target on him. But Andy Reid was asked this week if he still has confidence in Jawaan Taylor.
You know, when he doesn't have the penalties, his percentage has been good. So he you know, you could argue one of the better tackles in his pass protection game. You know, so I'm conscious of that, and then I'll take care of it from there.
But the penalties do add up. When you start halting drives, that brings the offense back, and you don't have that first down, you didn't move the ball down the field, you're always looking. Like, if you score a big touchdown, you always look. You always look back at that line of scrimmage. Was there a false start? And that's something these players shouldn't have to think about. Just free and clear, free the mind, and go player action. Again, Pete Carroll's book, when he wrote it back in the day when he was at USC, it's like when players can concentrate on what they're doing and not having to worry about somebody else, things could be much better. And it's 100% true, because if you're constantly worrying about somebody else making mistakes, it can deter a player mentally for that. Here was Mitch Holthus talking about Jawaan Taylor. Of course, Mitch Holthus, the great voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, joins Bob and Dusty and Mac each and every Friday. But this was Mitch's thoughts on Jawaan Taylor.
You know, he's done a lot of good things, but I mean, you just can't ignore the fact that right now he's number 1 in the league in penalties with 6, and you can't. He's just got to tighten the screws here. And I know he's trying to get advantage against pass rushers. That New York Giant front now.
It's one of the best in the NFL.
Oh, my gosh. Those guys are good. And Brian Burns, I would take him today, tomorrow, and the next day.
Yep.
All right. Still, he's looking at an edge, man. I got to gain a half-second edge here to try to win this. Not now, man. You got to lock in and line up correctly, do your job like everybody else, and get after it. But he's done it. He's done it. We just got to have him do it now in a game like this, because this game will be razor, razor thin.
It's going to be thin. I think it's a 3-point Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs win this game by 3 points. It's what they've done in the past. They're not 100% full strength on offense, as we know, but I do think they hold it within 3, and they do win this game. I had 27-24 Kansas City Chiefs over the Baltimore Ravens today. Yes, Jawaan Taylor at home, different deal. And again, he still false starts at Arrowhead Stadium, no question about it, but it is quieter. On the road, when it's very noisy, he goes off of the cadence. He's not watching the football, things like that. But it can deter a team. Just like what Dick Vermeil told Fesco years ago. Football comes down to 1 or 2 plays. 1 or 2 plays here or there. Well, that could be the difference. You score a touchdown, and all of a sudden you have to bring the team back. That's a big problem. By the way, Pittsburgh Vikings did score. It's 24-21, 2:08 left in this game. Again, the Vikings, 1 timeout plus the 2-minute warning as well. I'll let you know what happens in this game. The Vikings were the favored team in this one at 2.5 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh, again, great chance in this division. If the Ravens lose today, they go to 1-3. It's a great chance for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially the way the Bengals are playing without Joe Burrow. Browning's been terrible at this point. I expect it to be the whole season. No, he's got to stop throwing interceptions. It's a problem there. But speaking of that, around the NFL, Jacob and I look around the NFL, and we do our picks at the end of the show as we lead you into Chiefs pregame. We do all that next.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
You're on the list for Macy's Fall VIP Sale. That means you're invited to save big on this season's top designer looks at prices you'll love. Like an extra 30% off Calvin Klein, Steve Madden, Hugo Boss, and more. Plus, get 15% off beauty and fragrance from Estee Lauder, Lancome, and so many others. This only happens a few times a year. Don't miss the Fall VIP Sale. Today, only at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your cold is coming. Your cold is coming. When you feel a cold coming, shorten it with Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand.
Oh, no, not before my big trip.
The big trip you've been planning is coming up, and so is your cold. But Zicam can shorten your cold and get you back to planning sooner.
Thanks, Revere.
We really should keep Zicam in the house.
Shorten your cold with Zicam.
Take it from America's most revered messenger. Shorten your cold at the first sign with cold shortening products from Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand. Available in stores or see where to buy at Zicam.com.
DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. And when we go live, place just a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. Starting November 17th, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook account in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook brings you everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
And welcome back as you sit around and waiting for the Kansas City Chiefs right here on 96.5 The Fan. Maybe you're in line at Arrowhead. Maybe you're tailgating already. Maybe you got that beer in your hand at this point. Maybe you're smoking something on the grill. Enjoying it. You seen the weather lately, man? It's like it's gonna be pretty damn hot today. See you around kickoff. It'll be about 86 degrees. It'll finish about 82. In the Long Ranger, it's like 86 tomorrow, 84, 86, 88, 88, and 86. Very, as we're on the cusp of October. Very un-October-like. Good thing they shut those pools down on Labor Day, right? Good thing that happened. We had the hottest days of the year after the pools are closed. But the Vikings didn't get the onside kick, which nobody gets onside kicks. The funny thing is, field goal kickers have gotten so much better, right? The college game they have, the NFL game, they kick longer. I mean, you saw that 59-yarder from Harrison Butker, like, ran it on the field, kicks it, and goes through. I mean, we're seeing longer and longer field goals in college football and the NFL. But that onside kick, man, no one can quite get the bounce. No one can quite get the bounce or hop, right? Listen, I know that teams can do it now, but they still have to declare it, but they can do it any time in the game now, not just in the fourth quarter. But yeah, if you're waiting for a team to get that onside kick at the end, the odds are pretty slim, my friend. But the Steelers still with a 3-point lead over the Minnesota Vikings. Adam Schefter put some things out earlier. And by the way, our text line 913-586-7965, the J Southland Tow Service text line. But Jackson Dart now looking around the league, starting the Ole Miss quarterback, first-round pick, starting for the Giants. Russ has been benched. Get this. In the last 23 years, Dart can become the first quarterback to win a game in his first career start that's 3-0, which hopefully Dart gets the job done today against the Chargers. I don't know if that's the right defense to start Jackson Dart, but if you're going to throw your feet to the fire, why not? Why not in that game right there for Jackson Dart? That guy, I mean, might as well. The Giants might as well. And you know what? They probably should have done it at the beginning of the year if they want to do it, although Jameis Winston sits there, it's perfectly capable. But you're going to throw his feet to the fire today against the Chargers. But the guy brings some life to the team, right? Didn't you feel a little bit different when he came in the game against the Chiefs? I mean, he had a little bit of juice with him. I mean, I love to see Russell Wilson starting for him. Trust me. Mr. Unlimited was great starting for the Giants.
Yeah, that was I mean, there's clips they're saying that he's playing with some swag in practices and is going to be leading the team on a different note than Russell Wilson was.
Also in that Giants game, Justin Herbert, of those Chargers trying to win the AFC West, has gone 9 straight road starts without an interception. He became the first quarterback in NFL history with 10 consecutive road games without a pick, minimum 15 attempts. And you know he's feeling it. You've heard him. Justin Herbert's feeling it. Can he parlay it into any postseason success for the Chargers? That's yet to be seen. But they did spend their first-round pick on a running back, like the Raiders in a division we're trying to stop. Chiefs, we'll see if it works out. We'll see if the Chiefs can kind of recover here. The Steelers, by the way, 24-21, minute 52 left in this game in Dublin, Ireland. Any games you're looking forward to? I know the at noon. Well, I like these. To be honest with you, I love these morning starts. Like, I love these morning starts. Now, if you're on the West Coast and it's 6:30 in the morning, you know what? That's still fine too, right, Jacob? You get your cup of coffee, you're watching the NFL, maybe some breakfast. You're like, nah, I'm going to have breakfast, at home today. I'm not going to go out for it because I get the NFL to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, they get spoiled with the night games not being too late for them. They can deal with some early ones.
I think where we're at, it's perfect. I think the Central Time Zone is absolutely perfect.
I would say this is the best one.
I always thought the Mountain was really good too, Central or Mountain. But the noon slate today, we'll make our picks towards the end, but the noon slate loaded with a ton of game. Of course, the Commanders, without Jaden Daniels, going against those Falcons that just can't quite get off the schneid. But Commanders and Falcons, I do like the Falcons in this game with no Jaden Daniels. That's a big difference. The Saints and the Bills, again, have you seen Buffalo's schedule, man? Now that they got the Ravens out of the way, and that defense has not been playing great for the Buffalo Bills. But the Saints are absolutely terrible. Wouldn't that be a perfect game for the Chiefs to play today? Wouldn't that be a perfect game to get yourself going?
They got that last week with the Giants.
Oh, but the Giants run a roll, right? Russell Wilson looked good against Cowboys. Put it this way, this is the Buffalo Bills schedule. New Orleans, at home. Then Jacobs Patriots, but it's at home. And the Patriots did hold their number. Remember, they'd won like 32 out of 35, but that was when Tom Brady was playing against the Bills. 32-35 against the Bills. Then they're at Atlanta. Then they're at Carolina. Tell me where the loss is there for the Buffalo Bills, because the Chiefs are next after Carolina. Tell me where that loss is for the Buffalo Bills with the Saints, the Patriots at home, and then they go to Atlanta, big deal, and then Carolina, which Carolina's pesky at times, but they're not Buffalo Bills pesky. And then the Chiefs. Are they undefeated when they play the Chiefs?
Most likely. If any loss, knowing the Bills, it'll be today against the Saints.
I mean, you look at the rest of their schedule. At Miami, I like Josh Allen in that one. Tampa Bay at home. Tampa Bay, though, Mayfield, can be – that's a team that's won at the end of the game, but they've won 4 straight division titles. But still, it's a home game for the Bills, so I like the Bills there. At Houston, Houston's definitely not the team we thought they were going to be this season. At Pittsburgh, okay, let's see if the Steelers can give them something. The Bills are still a better team than that. Then the Bengals, at the Patriots, at the Browns, finally Philadelphia. Like, Bills need an L there, but looking at the schedule, it's just so frustrating seeing the Bills, especially playing the freaking Saints today, man. You need to start stacking some losses of that. Then the Browns and Lions, Browns with that defense they have going against the Lions, the Lions showed me something. Are they without, you lose Ben Johnson and you lose Glenn to the Jets, you lose your offensive defensive coordinator? That certainly didn't look like that against the Ravens, did it? That certainly didn't look like they had lost that. That's still a talented football team. The Chiefs will see this team in Week 6.
True. And Carson Wentz, in classic fashion, throws the game-sealing interception.
No! That didn't just happen. So the Steelers are going to win this game 24-21. But anyway, the noon slate's perfect, obviously, for NFL Red Zone. Panthers and Patriots. I actually like your Patriots here, man. It's an iffy game. I mean, I like the way Bryce Young's playing. I don't think Carolina's taken the steps forward that you thought they would parlay that season at the end of the year last year. But that's a winnable game.
Well, and yeah, and
New England's actually almost like a 5.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I mean, it's going to be a close game, especially if the Patriots keep shooting themselves in the foot with the turnovers. We talked about it earlier on the fantasy football Sundays with Mac, and it was just like they had 5 turnovers against the Steelers. The Steelers were outgained by the Patriots by 160 yards and still won, and which included a fumble on the 1-yard line. It was insane how many turnovers they had and how bad it cost them. So if they can clean up the mistakes and actually maybe use their 2nd-round pick and their 3rd-round picks, we may actually see some improvement.
One game I think is really good at noon. I'm paying attention to this one. Eagles at the Bucks. Man, it's just a nice, solid NFC matchup. The Buccaneers, remember they hammered the Eagles last year. They hammered at home. The Eagles got off to a rough start. The Buccaneers hammered them. Mike Evans isn't playing in this one, is he? He's not playing in this one. But, Baker is still Baker. And Baker, I give Baker a lot of credit, man, for a guy just, being thrown into the woodshed for the Browns and then cups of coffee in Carolina. Then what he did with the Rams. I mean, that was incredible when he flies out to Los Angeles and literally learns the offense in a day and competed.
They are ruling that the interception did not have control maintaining 2 feet in bounds. So the Vikings get another chance.
So the Vikings do get another chance with 54 seconds left. They're out of timeouts. Of course, 2-minute warning's gone. There's a flag on the play. So the Vikings still alive against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Titans and Texans, I have a feeling this game will come up in the next segment. The afternoon slate, it's all about the Chiefs. Yeah, Jaguars play the Niners. Colts play the Rams. Speaking of that's actually like a quietly good game, man. Because the Colts actually did have to punt. Could Daniel Jones keep this up? That's actually an intriguing game. But the Chiefs and Ravens, definitely the highlight of the day at that point. Bears and Raiders, that's a pick 'em through Vegas on that game. And then, of course, at night, you get the Packers and Cowboys. You get Micah Parsons, or as Jerry calls him, Michael Parsons, return to the Dallas Cowboys. And then you're going to be treated to 2 Monday night games this week, by the way. The Jets and Dolphins at 6:15. You looking forward to this one? 0-6, these teams combined. Jets and the Dolphins. But there's good news because the Bengals and the Broncos, which you'd rather see them both lose. I want to see the Broncos lose. I want to see the Broncos take the L. The Bengals 2-1. Of course, no Joe Burrow. It's Browning at quarterback. The Broncos, Nix has not had the season that he did last year. Didn't parlay year 2 from year 1. So the Bengals and the Broncos will beat the 7:15 game again. Doubleheader Monday Night Football. But that first one, the Jets and Dolphins, that is just the suck bowl. That is, I think the Jets are a better team. Miami's the favorite. But Miami is just a weird football team. Anyway, we'll take a timeout. We come back. The pick of the week. Last time we did this, Jacob was 100% on the money. Where will he go this week, and where will I go this week? We'll do that next.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
You're on the list for Macy's Fall VIP Sale. That means you're invited to save big on this season's top designer looks at prices you'll love. Like an extra 30% off Calvin Klein, Steve Madden, Hugo Boss, and more. Plus, get 15% off beauty and fragrance from Estee Lauder, Lancome, and so many others. This only happens a few times a year. Don't miss the Fall VIP Sale today, only at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
NFL Sunday's coming. You've got your crew, your couch, your snacks, your slate, and FanDuel's coming in with something extra. This isn't just another NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your go-to player prop. And now we're making it even better because this week FanDuel's bringing the bonus. That's right. Right now, all customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. However you play your game, FanDuel's got your back with something extra in your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download the app and get in on the action before kickoff. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time to build that dream deck over at All Weather Decks. Schedule a free estimate today at 913-206-1974 or online at allweatherdecks.net. All Weather Decks, the right deck at the right price.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your cold is coming. Your cold is coming. When you feel a cold coming, shorten it with Zycam, the #1 cold shortening brand.
Oh, no, not before my big trip.
The big trip you've been planning is coming up, and so is your cold. But Zycam can shorten your cold and get you back to planning sooner.
Thanks, Revere.
We really should keep Zycam in the house.
Shorten your cold with Zycam.
Take it from America's most revered messenger. Shorten your cold at the first sign with cold shortening products from Zycam, the #1 cold shortening brand. Available in stores or see where to buy at Zycam.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
And welcome back. Final segment before we turn things over to the Chiefs Radio Network. If you haven't checked them out, that's definitely a must. Go to the game, put the headset on, the AirPods in, listen to Mitch and Dana and Josh Klingler call the game, and, of course, the pregame show with Briscoe. Awesome. I'll jump in with him talking some college football about 1:15. That'll be a lot of fun to kind of break the action up there. But they do a great job. Eric Townsend producing that thing. Nick Springer, the producer there for Josh. Ken Wolf, Dustin Hilton, all those things those guys do behind the scenes. Unbelievable. This game got a little interesting. Carson Wentz, what the hell is he doing, man? He didn't take the sack. He decided to throw the ball away and got intentional grounding because he was still in the pocket. But can you imagine this guy? I mean, this guy was almost MVP. The year they won the Super Bowl where Nick Foles had to take over. I mean, just bounced around the different teams. I was actually okay with him here, but then he showed being Carson Wentz. I actually think Gardner Minshew is a much better backup in Kansas City. But anyway, the Steelers are going to win this one 24-21. Of course, the Vikings favored this game. You know, they show the crowd. You know, the crowd, when it's an NFL game, they'll wear whatever, right? Or whatever jersey. There was cheeseheads and Packers fans all over for a game that didn't involve the Packers. I get, fandom when you're, in a different country and you're rooting for different teams and you're a fan base because Chiefs have fans everywhere. Literally everywhere. I saw the map around the world where there's Chiefs fans. They're like literally everywhere. But why are there people wearing cheese heads at the game in Dublin? I mean, put a Guinness head on or something. But cheese heads in Dublin? I get it. Wear a Packers jersey, it's fine. But a cheese head, man? What are we doing here? What are we doing here with cheese heads on? But anyway, Steelers going to get the win in this one. Last time I sat in here, you and I make picks at the end of the game. You, my friend, were spot on. You had the Panthers at that point covering against the Cardinals. So you get the win on that one. I took the Steelers, again, for some stupid reason because I've been picking them in this because seemingly I love the odds in it. The great day today to pick the Steelers because they were the underdog in this game. But where do you sit, my friend? Because the Steelers, I picked them last time, and they get absolutely hammered by the Seattle Seahawks. Shocked in that one. Which direction are you going today?
So I'm going to, I like to pick teams covering a lot of the times, but today I'm going to flip it around. And a rookie quarterback going against one of the better defenses in the league. We both talked about the I'll leave that game for you. But I like the Chargers 6.5 favorites over the Giants and Jackson Dart.
You're not believing in Jackson Dart? You're not believing in the first guy in his first start to beat a 3-0 team? You're not buying that first time in 23 years? Almost a quarter century, man.
No, I'm not. And it's nothing against Jackson Dart. It's just I don't think it's a good matchup. I would not have handled
terrible matchup.
I would not have handled Jackson Dart this way if I was. Honestly, I'd be playing Jameis Winston this week if I was the Giants.
So you're going the Chargers on we use the DraftKings odds just to stay consistent on this. Chargers -6.
Yep.
So you're having the Chargers. Quentin Johnston's going to go off, isn't he? Was that one of Mac's big plays this week? Because you think about stretching the defense. This dude, he's got the little drop problem kind of cured. And Keenan Allen, man, is having a great freaking year. Everybody told him he's too old for the Chiefs to get. He could have had him. He's there for anybody. Chargers bring him back in August, but he's having a great year.
Yeah, he's having a really good year. And no, he is, I think Mac has Johnston in a couple leagues or at least one of his leagues. So he will be playing him in a flex position this week. He's a good matchup against that Giants secondary and their entire defense, honestly. So if you do have him and need him as a flex play, it is a really good option this week.
My game, Jacob, is one that I think you liked a lot as well. The Titans at the Texans. Houston's desperate. They're both desperate, but Titans don't have any expectations. Texans do. They've actually won a playoff game the last 2 years. I know people were coming down on D'Amico and all that. It's like, name me another coach in his third year that has 2 playoff wins under his belt. I mean, let's just calm down on that. And C.J. Stroud's not playing like he should. I do have Nick Chubb in an anytime touchdown, though, because the Titans have given up 6 rushing touchdowns. That leads the league. So I did like Nick Chubb in anytime touchdowns. But the spread is 7.5 points to the Texans. Do I think the Texans are better than the Titans? I do. Don't forget the Titans had the first pick on the clock with Cam Ward. But giving a team 7.5 points that has not won a game, and I know the game is in Houston, I have to take the Titans plus the points there, plus the 7.5. So I'll go Titans plus 7.5 in the game against the Houston Texans. Watch it be absolutely wrong, but again, I just hate seeing a team get 7.5 points. They can't get out of their own way like the Houston Texans at this point. So we'll go that on this. Chiefs and Ravens coming up here at 3:25. Mitch Holthus and Danon Hughes, of course, on the call in that one. But as far as, I don't know if you heard the Alex Smith interview this week, didn't do a ton of interviews. He was on with Cody and Gold. Always says great stuff. And this is what he had to say about Andy and not being panicked. And I think this is important because Alex Smith was the quarterback of that Chiefs team that started off 1-5, trying to, not start 1-3 today. But this was kind of Alex Smith's message on about how Andy Reid just doesn't get panicked in these situations.
I think a couple things, to think back to that 1-5 start, and I'd been around several head coaches at that point in my career. I'd had several bad starts to seasons before, and I just remember coming in, and I remember how calm Andy was. Like this, he wasn't panicked, right? And I remember how rare that was. I remember him telling everybody that he was going to be a little better, and the coaches are going to be a little better, and you guys need to prepare a little better, and we need to execute a little better. And it was just so much of like, you look around the league at all these teams that get off to bad starts, and we always see these drastic changes, right? People are fired, they lose their quarterback changes, or they lose their play calling abilities, and I think people so often do kind of rash things when they're under that kind of pressure. And I remember thinking how unique it was that Andy just seemed to have such amazing resolve, and he was so kind of immune to it, and how impressive it was. And again, it made the difference, right? Like the momentum is obviously such a big thing in the NFL. And if you can get one win, right? If you can, one scoring drive and kind of get some momentum going, and then all of a sudden you stack them, it can obviously have a powerful effect. I think the other thing is I think about this, currently the core of this current Chiefs team that's been together obviously these last several years and had so much success. But they've had a lot of adversity too, right? Like this isn't the first time that they've faced adversity. This is a team that has had, faced a lot of adversity, especially offensively, the last couple of years, and still found a way to overcome it. And I think they will lean on those experiences. Again, they haven't gone through this, 3 weeks into the season before, but it's still valuable experience that they will rely on, I think, to work through this.
Good stuff there from Alex Smith. You can hear that full interview on demand at 965.com in the Odyssey app there. It's great stuff from Alex Smith with Cody and Gold this week, but not panic. Not panic. I don't think really either team should panic with the loss. We'll start 1-3. Yes, it does suck, but look at the competition around. The Ravens will be right there in the mix in that division. And Kansas City, again, this is not the team you want to play. This is a team with revenge on their mind, so it's going to be fun to see. Jacob, great stuff today as always. Let's watch your picks. You took the Chargers -6. I took the Titans +7.5. Both of them interesting games. But anyway, Josh Briscoe will take it from here. And don't forget, on the Fan, 6:10 is the Kansas City Royals. Vern coming up at 1 o'clock. Of course, last day in Major League Baseball. Anyway, you guys have fun. Enjoy your Sunday. Have fun at Arrowhead today, man. Get loud, man. Get loud. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You're listening to After Hours, brought